All right, guys, so the housing market will be destroyed by this one problem. And to make matters worse, it's only spreading out to even more areas in the country, and it's creating problems for a lot of Americans, around 75 million to be exact. And the challenge here is that this seems to now be the norm in real estate, kind of like the high price of goods in Walmart or Target, or maybe just how bad inflation is. It's probably something that some of us will have to live with for the rest of our lives. But what exactly is happening to the housing market that's causing all of this ruckus?
Tonight, some residents at the Berkeley court condominiums in Southeast Houston say they are tired of dealing with their homeowners association. We first told you about the complex back in February after residents spoke out about mold, HOA fees increases, and issues with maintenance requests. Well, now residents tell KPRC2's Rochelle Turner they are receiving letters from the HOA's attorney about harassment, and they are now facing a temporary restraining order. Rochelle joining us now live from the complex near the Gulf Freeway with that story. Rochelle?
And Daniela, residents say this is not the first time they have received letters from the HOA. They told me they feel like their rights are being taken away, but they will continue to fight back.
This one here saying that we're again harassing people that are working here on the plumbing.
Resident Robert McDaniel says he is being accused of harassing workers and interfering with building renovations at the Berkeley Court condominiums on the Gulf Freeway.
None of this stuff is true. What this is being used for is anytime we have a disagreement or have a question about this community, we get these kind of letters.
McDaniel and other residents say they continue to have problems with the community's homeowners association. Hello? We reported on the complex in February.
It's like pulling teeth. trying to get in touch with them.
Resident Joe Alaniz says he was being charged $25 a day for parking his business F-150 truck at his home.
They were retaliating against me.
Alaniz says his bill got up to about $4,000.
HOAs in the country have spiked since 2011. Since then, HOAs didn't even cover half the country. It was around like 49%. Just 11 years later, and now we're looking at 84% of newly completed homes being a part of a HOA community in 2022. It's also worth noting that the houses that are in these kinds of groups are usually 5 to 6% more expensive compared to homes that are not in the HOAs. Now, that's great if you already own a home, but if you're trying to buy a home that's in an HOA, then you're going to pay a lot more. Plus, of course, you got the HOA fees. On average, for a single family home, a single family household, they can range anywhere from $200 to $300 per month. So yeah, definitely a bit of a stiffer on your wallet, you know what I mean? And keep in mind, those are the HOA fees that are kind of hovering on the cheaper side of the game. And like I said, guys, it's spreading throughout the nation like nobody's business, because back in like the 1970s, there was only around like 10,000 community associations. Now, if we fast forward to 2020, and that number has exploded to 355,000. Now, putting this into perspective in terms of population, in 1970, only 2.1 million Americans lived in this kind of setting. By 2020, that went up by more than 30 times, as 74.1 million Americans now lived in a neighborhood that belongs to a community association. And so this means that there's just so much space where these communities are just taken over, meaning that it's almost impossible for a homeowner, or I should say a home buyer, to be able to find a single family home that's not a part of an HOA. And it's not just with the houses though, it's also affecting tons of condos.
Shock, anger, and now searching for answers. Christian Murray has lived in the Palm Bay Yacht Club condos since 2016. Now he and many other residents are worried if they'd be able to keep their homes. The building needed to be recertified, meaning an engineer needed to come in and see if the building needed structural and electrical repairs. Now, it's not uncommon that these things need to be fixed, but get this, when the property managers brought in their engineer, they claimed the building needed $46 million in repairs. So let's break this down. $46 million means that every condo owner needed to cough up approximately $175,000. Now keep in mind, the entire building itself is worth $50 million. So something here didn't sound right to them. So residents hired a different engineer to do the same assessment, and they were told the building needed $23 million in repairs, a far cry from the initial $46 million.
To ask for $46 million for repairs is really extraordinary.
Now, good luck thinking about finding a condo that's not a part of an HOA. But you might be thinking that it's the builders that are pushing for more of these associations. But in fact, it's actually being peddled more by the local governments. So here's the deal, guys. With HOAs in place, local governments save a ton of money in terms of building and maintaining public facilities or even providing services to the neighborhoods. That cost is passed on to homeowners, meaning that you're now basically doing their job. And on top of that, you're spending a lot more of your money to avail of services that the local government should have already been providing for. I mean, do you feel like that's fair? Do you feel like if you're paying for the services that the local government should have been providing, that you should get a discount on your property taxes? I know I sure do. Many homeowners do not think that this is fair. In fact, surveys reveal that 57% of homeowners with an HOA don't like their current arrangement, and like 3 out of 10 of them say that the HOA has way too much power.
This is where we live, and it's not right.
Lloyd Havel lives at the Hills of Inverary in Lauderhill, a private community, and called me after getting a call from his HOA.
Car's expiring and in disrepair. I'm like, car's not in disrepair, I drive it, and the tags are expired. So I said, okay, fine.
Lloyd tells me he bought a new car and moved the old one outside, covered it until he could decide what to do with it, which prompted another question and call to the HOA.
So that's fine, we'll go ahead and move the car or do that. That's not really a problem, but how did you even know that? He's like, oh, well, we went up and we uncovered your car and we searched on your car. And I was like, you did what?
Lloyd's next call was to Lauderhill police to report the incident. He also started talking to the neighbors who had their own stories. Storage bins opened and rummaged through on their patios. This 2014 police report was made after a woman claimed a worker broke into her screened-in patio.
Actually went and slid open the screen, reached inside, found the lock for the door, broke in
to use an electrical outlet. That worker claimed the okay was given by the same property manager police talked to in Lloyd's incident, who says he spotted Lloyd's parked covered car with a flat tire. The property manager says Lloyd's driveway is a limited common area, meaning he's allowed to access it, and said the disabled covered car violated the association's rules, so he lifted the cover, noted the expired tag, and then called Lloyd.
Do any of you guys think that the HOA was overstepping here? But of course, to each their own, right? Maybe there are people who like strict rules and expect neighbors to adhere to them. That's fine. But if you want freedom and the option to do what and when you want, then maybe the HOA isn't for you. So yes, it does come down to a matter of choice. However, it's not going to be very simple because, like I said a while ago, more and more of these HOAs are popping up everywhere. So it's going to take some time and some due diligence for first-time home buyers or even people who want to be able to move out to find a place that's not under an HOA. That way they can get the freedom that they would otherwise lack being in a homeowners association. But what do you guys think about this advancement? Now, before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next video.